And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we're going to talk about your boy, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. Before we get too far into today's story, I just want to show you a quick clip of him that embodies, that personifies the reason why I don't rock with this guy. Take a look at this, y'all.
We are the transformation that this city is looking for, but make no mistake about it, there are those who are intimidated by this level of power, right? Because in some instances, those who held the power before are living in their own guilt and shame. And so they are intimidated by this sight. But we have to demonstrate to the rest of the world what it means not just to come together for our people, but how our liberation benefits all.
Now, what's my problem with that clip? The clip is going around X right now. What is my problem with it? Some people will say they don't like the fact that Brandon Johnson is demonizing another group of people that is unnecessary. This is my thing. He is, as a leader, he's teaching young men to be self-conscious. He's saying, look, you're powerful. So from that perspective, they're not self-conscious. But he is saying that you have enemies out there and you don't even know who they are. There's some people out there, they want to get you. How does that help them? How does it help them at all for you to say that to them? Just tell them to go out there to be their best and that the United States of America, the greatest country on earth, will reward you for that. I mean, that's all they need to know. Injecting in their mind that there's this, some people out there that's going to try to stop you. To me, saying that type of thing to young people is poison. I've always felt this way. I stand by this. The positives from putting these ideas in their head are slim. There are some, but they're slim. And the negatives are huge, particularly that now they go around suspecting this person. They go around wondering, is this one of the people that's out against me? Is this one of the people who doesn't like me because of this or that? Now they can't be themselves because they're self-conscious because you told them that somebody doesn't like them for some reason. Anyway, y'all, let's continue. But before we do, y'all, we are launching our official Patreon. So if you want to be a founding member on our Patreon, we have just 222 slots, y'all. If you want to be a founding member, go down, click the very first link in the description, and you're going to feel good about this, y'all, because believe it or not, we are an actual paralegal school, and we help people get their paralegal certificate and get working in the paralegal field. And all of the proceeds from our Patreon, when you enroll as a founding member, all of that is going to go to scholarships for people who would like to study at our institute, y'all. So click that first link down in the description. Join us as a founding member, y'all. This deal will not come back. Now let's get into the story. Y'all, you already know that he is in a battle with his own city council over the city's budget. And it looks like if they can't get on the same page, y'all, Chicago could be going into its first ever government shutdown. It's kind of like what we saw on the federal side a couple of months ago. That could happen to Chicago.
Continues.
Judy, it sure does. Both sides are laying the groundwork of blame for the other side if for some reason a budget deal does not get done before the end of the year. But a lengthy weekend meeting did nothing to break the stalemate, which raises the specter of Chicago's first ever government shutdown. Mayor Brandon Johnson issuing a challenge today to the group of 26 Alders who are fighting his budget with an alternative plan.
Well, we don't know that they have 26 votes because nothing has been voted on. So I'm saying put it on the board.
On Saturday, many of those Alders met with the mayor's budget and finance teams to present their plan, only to have the ideas dismissed. The mayor was not there, frustrating Alders who believe he needs to personally be at the table to get a budget deal done.
We will continue to work right up until December 30th, every single one of us. I think the question is the mayor going to get in the room? Is the mayor going to govern? Is the mayor going to lead?
My team is there. That's their job. That's their responsibility. They were there for 9 hours. I'm updated all day, every day on everything.
The mayor said he remains open to compromise, but not on the corporate head tax unless there's other progressive revenue ideas from the Alders.
We will also do everything in our power to prevent a government shutdown. A shutdown benefits nobody.
What could happen if there is a first ever Chicago government shutdown? Likely a multi-stage process, according to one expert.
The first would be that I would imagine that you would see enough money scraped together to keep the city government running for some short period of time, maybe 2 weeks.
Then there could be state intervention to compel a solution.
And the sticking point, the main thing that is causing the intransigence is the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago's head tax proposal. Now, y'all, he's bending the knee. He's bending the knee. He wanted to charge $21 per employee for employers who have 100 or more employees in Chicago. He got tremendous pushback on that. And now he's not ready to give up on his stupid idea just yet, y'all. But he has bent the knee and moved the number from employers with 100 or more employees. He's moved it up to 500 or more employees. Now, it's still a dumb idea, y'all. And let me try to give you a brief idea why before we get into the news clips. I want you to think about this. I just did a quick search and I found that the average salary in Chicago is about $72,000 a year. Now, be what it may, I don't know if that's correct, but let's just use that as a figure. So for every person on average who does not get hired, that's $72,000 in wages that Chicago does not earn. Does that make sense? So if a company says, well, you know, we have this illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor, he's not very politically savvy. He's putting these additional head taxes on us. Let's just go to another state. No other state has this. Like, we don't have to deal with this anywhere else. We don't have to hire in Chicago. Or they tell the people in Chicago, look, you ready? Are you willing to move? You know, we just don't want to deal with this guy. Like, look at this guy, the guy on your screen. We don't want to deal with him. So he's wagering $50 that he wants from $72,000 in wages that his city's currently able to get. Does that make sense? So in other words, he's saying to the companies, I'm willing to bet you that you'll stick around and my payoff is $50 if I'm right, but the detriment to my city is a negative $72,000 for every employee that I'm wrong.
Judy, the mayor's new head tax proposal now only goes after companies with more than 500 employees instead of 100. And while it might protect some small to mid-sized companies from the pain, opponents say philosophically it's bad for business and it won't change their minds. Mayor Brandon Johnson offering a compromise head tax plan that he hopes will be more palatable to any opponents who might be on the fence. The new proposal would tax Chicago companies with more than 500 employees at $33 per employee per month. The original plan impacted those with more than 100 employees, charging $21 per employee per month. The mayor says his community safety surcharge would only impact about 175 of the largest corporations in the city.
The community safety surcharge would account for roughly 0.0008% of their annual revenue. That's less than 1,000%.
Pat Dowell, the influential chair of the Finance Committee, remains staunchly opposed.
I think this is the current proposal is making a bad policy even worse.
All these small inputs, like a head tax, determine whether or not a big employer moves to a city like Chicago. And this is simply another symbol of why you shouldn't come here. And I think it's a big, big mistake.
The mayor counting on big companies being willing to pay the price and stay in Chicago even if they oppose the head tax.
These huge corporations are not going to make a financial decision based upon what essentially could be a rounding error.
But it's the decisions of a majority of city council members that the mayor needs to focus on first, with 27 now supporting an alternative budget.
If it's prepared and ready to go tomorrow, we'll introduce it tomorrow, and if not, we'll introduce it later.
The mayor also seeming confident of his plan getting passed.
Now, in terms of when we actually put it up on the board, we'll talk with our IGA team. I'm ready to go now, right? I mean, I believe that the budget that I presented was ready to go.
So, as you can see, Chicago is facing a potential shutdown, government shutdown. And it's caused Brandy Boy, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, it's caused him to back off of his, well, he's made his stupid idea, I guess a little bit less stupid, but it's still stupid, the head tax. And again, y'all, think about it. He's wagering where he gets $50 in tax revenue per month as long as the company doesn't take away $72,000 worth of wages from his city. Even though he bent the knee, backed off, brought his expectations down, it looks like people still have their common sense. And the city council, the opposition seems to be not only strong, but increasing. But they do have to pass the budget, y'all. I think at the end of the day, they're just going to probably negotiate this away. They're going to give him his dumb head tax and probably get something like a teen curfew and some other things in exchange. Who knows? But yeah, y'all, this is what happens when you elect people who are illustrious, sub 10% approval rating, people who see the world through the lens of victimization, people who want to go out and teach other people to see the world through the lens of you're powerful. And don't you know people are against you? I mean, that's just, this is something that I, as a young person, I realized, hold up, y'all, stop saying that to me. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Keep that for yourself. That's not for me. I never accepted that. Even if it's true, that's the thing. I don't care. Even if it's true, I don't care. I'm not going to allow my mind to think like that, even if it's true, because it doesn't help me. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think about his head tax, about his budget, about the Chicago shutdown, and about my rant. Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Drop a comment down in the comment section, y'all. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button. Share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all. We'll see you back in the next one.
Essentially, this version would isolate to an even greater extent this revenue generating proposal would extract resources from the largest companies in the city of Chicago. And these are companies that have more than 500 employees. We would raise the rate per month to $33 on roughly 175 companies, which we project would raise roughly $82 million. What this fund would do, and it would continue to drive violence down in the city of Chicago, ensuring that our community violence intervention workers are supported, that we can continue our youth employment and diversion programs, services for survivors of domestic violence and gender-based violence, and of course, mental health care for our first responders. What types of companies would this impact? Well, we're talking about the largest corporations, of course, in the city. We are not talking about your local retail shops, however. We are not talking about your mom and pop restaurants. We are talking about the companies who have done exceedingly well in this current economic climate. Some of these names you might recognize: J.P. Morgan, Walmart, Accenture. J.P. Morgan, for example, brought in $57 billion in profit last year. And keep in mind, you all, they received $11 billion in additional profit from the 2024 Trump tax breaks, which, as I've been saying, was the largest upward transfer of wealth in our nation's history.